What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Inside the Force. Dave Cottingham here with Casey Cooley.
Hello, everybody.
And Cody Geiler.
I'm back again.
That's right. It's getting regular.
Yep.
It's getting regular.
Just like fiber.
It's getting habitual.
Regulators.
Very,
Anyways. Okay. Got a lot to go over today. Big thing later we'll talk about is the huge article that dropped today, Vanity Fair. Mm-hmm. Been a tradition for Star Wars ever since the prequels, 1999, The Phantom Menace. So big article there. A lot of new information that we'll talk about, character names, planet names, stuff like that. So a lot to break down. Great timing for us as we record this. But let's roll through some small news here. Little news here. Yeah. Not too much. Because, again, that's the big one. But
yeah. I mean, movie-wise, there's not a whole lot, right?
Well, it's the Vanity Fair.
Yeah, besides that.
Besides that, they did, I don't know if anybody noticed, though, but they did finally open up the website. So on StarWars.com, under the film selector now, you can select.
I haven't been on there yet. I need to check.
You can select the Rise of Skywalker, and it's
it's nothing.
Yeah, it's the trailer. Obviously, it's got the teaser poster there, that says December on it, and then it's got the teaser, and then of course Star Wars show clips. The gallery that they start adding images to. Okay. So it's just standard that there, but it is live now. So
nothing in the data bank or anything like that.
No data bank. No data bank yet. I don't think.
Does it list Kylo as Kylo or Ben Solo?
It's billed as in the film.
Actually, it does have some data bank, I guess.
Well, for the
characters.
Yeah, for the characters.
But that's really it.
That we already know. Yeah,
that's really it.
New guys and gals.
Hashtag save Ben Solo. Mm-hmm. That's my plug for the day.
Yeah, the brief, movie description that it puts there is no one's ever really gone. Rey's journey continues, and the Skywalker saga concludes in Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker, coming December 2019.
I thought you were going to say no one ever really knows. No one knows. That's
no
the
one
description.
knows.
No one knows.
Except for
yeah.
JJ.
So there's that. Last week when we. Cody and I did the show. They just announced the release schedule for the next 3 Star Wars films, December 2022, 24, and 26.
Yeah.
The first one definitely being Benioff and Weiss. Now, we're assuming that it's their trilogy, but no one knows if they're directing or if they're just writing.
I would assume producing and maybe writing, but
executive producing
based
for sure.
on their previous projects. But
now, since you were on the show last week, what's your reaction to?
That they're
the reaction that we're not getting a movie for 3 years.
That's fine. I'm totally fine with that. I wasn't asking. I wasn't one of the part of the fans that were kind of hoping that would be the case. I didn't feel one way or another about it, but. It's a fair gap of time to kind of take a breath after the saga is ending to start anew. But, I mean, we're getting TV shows, so it's not like we're missing anything, really. Thankfully, we're getting TV shows between all that. So we'll have Resistance and Cassian Andor, Mandalorians, which has already been basically kind of renewed for a second season. Or Jon Favreau has been said as the showrunner for the second season. I read that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's already been confirmed as a showrunner for
Jon Favreau can be the showrunner, but it hasn't been
renewed
for a second season.
It was a weird headline. I was like, that's
I never heard.
Kind of backwards, but all right. I mean, sure, I hope so. But,
he's awesome, so that's great.
Yeah, I'll talk more about it when we get into the Vanity Fair stuff because it's interesting to hear in the article Kathleen Kennedy talking about the movies and the frequency of movies and stuff like that. But I guess the one thing I do want to hit on a little bit from that is, I know you don't watch Game of Thrones right now. Do you watch Game of Thrones?
I do, yep.
Okay, so of course we're not going to talk about Game of Thrones.
No spoilers.
A lot of fans obviously are disappointed with the way season 8 went and ended. Does that bring any concerns to you? As
I
far
mean,
as
I'd be
Star Wars?
lying if I didn't say I was worried. I mean,
Really?
Here's the thing. Since then, I mean, I do love Game of Thrones. It's been a great show. So Benioff and Weiss have done a really good job. They're clearly talented creators and I don't know if you call them filmmakers. I looked through some of their previous work. I couldn't find as much for Weiss, but David Benioff wrote the screenplay for the I don't know how it's known, but in my opinion, the really bad X-Men Origins Wolverine movie.
Oh, really?
And like that's his only I mean, I might be
His only film credit?
I might be wrong in this, so don't. But I'm pretty sure it's his only film credit. I know he's done that movie. I don't know if he's done any other films. So I'm a little bit more trepidatious now because they don't have as much experience on feature films,
right?
As I'd kind of thought, and it just seemed like the whole time when they announced Rian Johnson's trilogy and then them, it always said a series of films, but I just always thought in my head, I'm like, maybe they got it wrong, and they'll just give them a show on Disney Plus or something. Mm-hmm. And that was probably pre even knowing Disney Plus was going to be a thing, or that we were getting Star Wars shows. But it seems a little weird, the format differences. Yeah. I think the only thing they really suffered from on Game of Thrones, in my opinion, is the rushed, shortened seasons. So maybe given full 2.5 hour movies, no problems. There's no pacing issues. You know, you get enough time with the characters, and hopefully they're able to make something awesome.
But, I mean, this last season was 2 years in the making, though. So it wasn't really rushed.
Well, rushed in the sense of they did shorter amount of episodes. They were longer, but they still don't clock out to the same hour length as a full season would have. And I think that's, at least in my opinion, from I've talked to some other people who watch it, think that it really did. Like, there's a couple episodes where the characters just quickly changed. Yeah,
and I think you gotta the one thing about TV, which always, you know, and it's the problem that I always had with, not the problem, but the thing I always noticed about The Walking Dead. Like when I watched The Walking Dead, which is going into, I think it's 9th or 10th season, you know when decisions were made based on budget. Right?
Yeah.
Like
you can see it. Yeah.
Well, also when they write like cast members out for like 5 episodes, like, well, obviously they couldn't afford them, so they have to make some crazy excuse to get him out of the storyline, because sometimes it doesn't make sense. Like, why would he be gone for that long? You know, it's like, other than, you know, you can't have a lead star in there for 13 episodes because you can't afford them. So, or there's a reason why you did a certain action sequence, you know. So I get it, in my opinion, I get it in season 8. There's only so much you can do with the budget, you know, and there are 2 or 3 major battles in that, like, that cost a ton of money, you know. So
they have done a really good job with the big set pieces.
Agreed.
I think those are the episodes that, I mean, some people have little problems with here and there and story issues, but I think those episodes, usually like the second to last episode of every season, have been like killer episodes.
Yeah,
like
totally.
Some of the best television.
Yeah. But you had the dragons more in this past season.
Yeah, that cost a lot.
And those were unbelievably CG. Like I those close-up shots of I was highly impressed. I was like, that's a lot of money they're putting into the shot. So anyway, you can argue the whole, you know, what they had to write based on the budget, you know, because you do have to think about this when you do TV. You know, movies. Of course, there's a budget, but it's like when you got $100 million or $200 million for an hour and a half. I mean, that's different than having what they have, 10, 15 million an episode. So it's like, I mean, you're pretty restricted. So I don't know. You have to write to the budget a lot on TV, and you see that with like the DC shows that I watch. I mean, it's like Arrow and Flash. I mean, they could be so much bigger, but they don't have the money. You know. So anyway, but as far as storytelling goes, you're always going to run into that where it's like, I didn't like this because of this, and it's like, well, it's so subjective. You know, I mean, they're writing it because it's their story they're trying to tell. So I don't argue that, but could it have been better? Sure, I believe it could have been better. Am I worried about Star Wars? I don't know. I really think that it definitely depends on the era that they're attacking. You know, the era, because if it's centered around maybe like what, not exactly like medieval times or anything like that, but older times when things are getting established, there's a lot more war going on. I definitely think that is the time period that they're going to be focused on. But if that's the case, I'm okay with that. I won't be okay if they direct. I definitely think they need directors. They need a good director.
I think that's key. I mean, seeing who, if anybody helps on the writing side or directing side, I think honestly, for all the Star Wars movies that we've started to notice and them adding more and more creators and filmmakers, I think the writing side is really the biggest. I mean, I'm starting to realize, like, as much as we love it and talk about it and we dream of like fan fiction or what we want to happen, Star Wars is actually incredibly hard to write, I think.
Yeah.
And I think other creators are realizing that after working on it. I mean, you got the Miller and Lord guys who are phenomenal, and they just made this amazing Spider-Verse movie, and they had a lot of problems and got taken off the movie for Ron Howard, and you have Rian Johnson and what fans think about him and JJ, and I just think it's interesting now that there's so many more people involved.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, of course, on top of that, they announced, Bob Iger kind of announced that the third TV series would be coming to Disney Plus before that movie hits the theaters. So regardless of season 2 or season 2 of Cassian or Mandalorian, we were getting a third show. I don't think there's any thoughts at all or any hints at all with what show we're talking about here, but I don't know if anybody wants to speculate. Is it finally going to be this underworld show that keeps talking about, or is that the Cassian show? I mean, it's like,
maybe, or even the Mandalorian, but
right.
I don't know, Obi-Wan, I guess would be my thought.
Kenobi,
gosh,
man.
yeah.
I was thinking the same thing.
Because I think I've read that as a rumor or speculation that it could have been like before Cassian, that Disney
Obi-Wan.
Plus was, because I know there was a big article I think put out not too long ago that there were possibly plans for an Obi-Wan movie.
I'm sure there was definitely plans. It's been known. It was in development for sure.
I think I saw, and I don't know, I may be recalling it wrong, but it may have been on Star Wars Newsnet that it said that it was going to be a movie at one point, the Obi-Wan movie, because apparently they had a script and everything, or they had a writer attached to it. But maybe after Solo,
right?
They've changed development, or maybe they're looking at Disney Plus. I don't know.
That's what I read too. Yeah, again, rumor, but that's what I read.
Again, I'm going to say it like I did last week. My prediction is that Rian Johnson stuff ends up on Disney Plus. Because I just don't see them sitting there waiting till 2028 to release a Star Wars movie.
Unless they do multiple movies a year.
But I don't think because of Avatar coming out in between those years, there's no way they're going to compete Avatar and Star Wars together.
The Adventures of Broom Boy.
They've got their they don't just start they have their slate of films that they release. They don't usually add movies to that after the fact, right?
I don't think they add. I think they shift.
Yeah,
so
they won't suddenly
shift.
Be like, oh, we're going to add a second Star Wars movie to 2024.
I don't think so, but
is it possible we get one before 2022?
Again, maybe Disney Plus, because that release slate didn't have any Disney Plus. Did it have any Disney Plus releases?
No, it was just theatrical releases.
We already know Disney Plus movies that are coming out, like originals. Like I think there's some spin-offs. I mean, that's only for TV shows, but there's like spin-offs of other movies that are like High School Musical, I think, and another. I want to say Monsters Inc.
Monsters Inc. There's something in Monsters Inc.
I think it's all
coming
TV show, maybe. But
yes, I think so. I think it's a series.
Lady and the Tramp, maybe. I can't remember. Live action
Lady and the
Tramp.
Tramp.
So that's on Disney Plus. I don't remember seeing that in the
no.
In the
there wasn't
release.
any Disney Plus on there.
Yeah,
it was all theatrical release. But that's true. I mean, could they pop one in 2021? I don't think so, because the way that sounded like in that Vanity Fair article and the way that it sounds like they're talking is that they literally want to put the brakes on the theatrical releases. And we're not going to get one for 3 years. And so that's a big thing. And I think I was listening to Collider today. They talked about how they think they were saying how they thought that we would get we'd get some description of what Benioff and Weiss's work, like the era or exactly what they're working on this year.
Before Rise of Skywalker?
Before the Rise of Skywalker. And they kind of mentioned maybe D23.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's the case at all. I don't think there's any way they're going to take away from anything coming. I don't think they're going to put anything in the way of Rise of Skywalker.
Typically haven't really been doing that also in the
No,
past.
they waited for Solo.
Yeah.
Which again was an issue. I felt like
Yeah.
because there wasn't enough time. But just think about it. What's 4 months? What's coming out next year? We don't know when. But another Celebration is next year.
Yeah.
That's when you roll out
Probably.
all of what Benioff and Weiss is doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Makes
the
sense.
big reveal, right? Because you don't have any other Skywalker trilogy's done. Skywalker Saga's done. You have possibly a season 2 of Mandalorian to talk about. Cassian will be probably highlighted. Clone Wars will be, I don't know when Clone Wars is happening yet. No one knows when that's coming out. But anyway, I think that's the time that they let the Skywalker saga play out. I think it's going to be a massive hit for a few months, starting in 2020. And you kind of wait till that dies down until you start feeding everybody this next movie. At least that's what it sounds like they're trying to do.
I feel like we'll know roughly something, maybe not even a title or maybe the plot line, but they're going to have to shoot. I mean, when they shoot, will they shoot next
They just
summer?
next fall.
Next fall?
Yeah, probably. I would
That's
say.
the earliest, I would say,
Okay.
next fall. But
I mean, they could wait till 2021
Yeah.
because
yeah.
there's only been, these guys just got done shooting Rise of Skywalker just like in the
They got
last year, right?
Yeah, lots of prep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
lots of prep. They got plenty of time to prep. But I guess it depends on scope too. Like, what are they actually? What are they doing? Is there a lot of set building? They better be on Coruscant. That's what they better be. I want to see Coruscant again.
I know yeah.
Doesn't look like we're going. It doesn't look like we're going to Coruscant in episode 9. So there's that. And then of course there's Vader Immortal got released
Oh, sweet.
yesterday.
Yeah.
Is yesterday Tuesday? Yeah, yesterday.
Yeah.
So I got extremely upset because we have at work
right.
have a Oculus Rift, right? And I told Dave Silvernell, our guy where we were, I was like, whatever you need, let me know. I'll buy it and let's play this thing tomorrow night after work. And so he comes over to me like 4:00 in the afternoon and goes, it's Quest exclusive. So the new Oculus Quest,
Oh, jeez.
that is the standalone gaming VR goggles that Oculus has put out. Quest just got released Tuesday, and it came with didn't come. We had to buy the games, and Vader Immortal is only on
Come on.
Quest.
Man, that just sounds like they're trying to.
Well,
Get money out
it
of
kind of
people.
makes sense only because the Rift is tied to a computer,
Right.
so they don't want you to be tethered. It seems like I feel like there's a lot more movement. I
Yeah.
mean, you guys did it, right?
Yeah.
Didn't you guys do it? Did you do
Yeah,
it?
I didn't do
You
it.
did it.
I did. Yeah, there's a lot of movement. I mean, what little glimpse that we saw in it.
Yeah, you only saw like
Yeah,
they said 5%
you're
of
not
it.
walking really. You can take a couple steps here and there,
But aren't you swinging
yeah,
your
you're
lightsaber?
swinging all
Yeah.
the way around you. Like there were like
Yeah, so
training
that's what
bots
they're-
are all the way around you. So you need a wide space because if you're like Corey who played the game and was like trying to be like Darth Maul in the room and flipping all the way around, and I'm sitting there like I'm trying to be contained. I'm still getting into it, but I'm like more contained and looking around. But
So that's what I think. I think because you're tethered, if you start swinging, you're going to hit the
Yeah.
cord. So
Please tell me somebody got video of Corey.
I would have. I didn't see
flipping
him. He
around.
was telling me about it, but no.
So now I guess I'm going to have to save up and buy this thing. I think it's $399 and $499 depending on what size you get. It's like a phone almost, but it's like.
Jeez. Yeah.
But I gotta try it. I gotta do the Vader because I brought the Oculus Go. We have an Oculus Go. I brought that home over the weekend just to kind of see what that is. That one it's not a gaming one. It's just a viewing one, which is
Interesting.
I'm not really wrapping my hand around
Just
that
sit
whole
on
thing
your
yet.
couch and
You basically sit on your
goggles on.
couch, and I put it on. Have you done it yet? The Go?
Is it the one that Silvernail has?
Yeah, not the gray one, standalone, not the Rift.
I've put it on,
Yeah.
but not.
Where you can see our videos, like you can see
Yeah.
our videos. But I noticed that I put it on and I'm sitting in my basement. Actually, it's funny. I'm sitting in my basement which my basement has, have a big screen.
Big screen in front of you.
So
You have a huge screen with a little tiny screen.
Yeah, this is actually pretty funny because I put these goggles on and I'm like, okay, let me try. What's the Netflix experience like?
Yeah.
So I click on Netflix and I'm searching and I started playing like Arrow or something like that. And all of a sudden, I'm sitting in a living room
Oh my gosh.
on a couch and with a big screen
it's
on the
so
wall.
real.
I'm like, wait a minute. And I like lift them up and this isn't any different.
Wow. This is so.
So I get it.
Real.
I get it that not everybody has that, but I'm sitting there like, wow, I'm sitting on a couch in front of a TV watching fake TV. Anyway, the Oculus. That's where it's going. That's so crazy.
That's hilarious. Yeah, it just puts you right in.
And then I
big
think if you do if you pick a movie, because I watched like a movie trailer, it puts you in a movie theater setting.
Oh, really? So
Yes, it's like you're sitting in a movie theater, and the screen looks like it's. I mean, the perception, is like you're in a movie, screen. That
cool.
was actually pretty neat. Like I felt like I was like, okay, I can maybe get behind something like this.
Like we've talked about how it'd be cool to see movies in theaters, but not have to go to the theater. Like
Yes.
at your home, so you can use that device to see movies that are in theaters and still kind of get that
kinda-
spatial experience. Of,
Yes, that's
I'm in a
kind of the
movie theater.
feeling. Now, yeah. Now, if there was like a fake popcorn box
Yeah.
and I had a
You
real
kinda-
one,
You got the smell.
That-
You
yeah,
got all
yeah,
the senses.
yeah.
And it's people next to you talking, you can like shush them in the theater. Nice.
that would be cooler too, because you're sitting in that thing by yourself. Now, if there was other people around, but I haven't tried it. But of course, the advertisement for it is that you can sit courtside at live like
Holy
basketball
crap.
and football
Yeah.
games,
Jeez.
and like if you had one at your house, you could virtually be sitting next to me at
Yeah.
this game, and we can be talking to each other, watching,
Yeah.
and it's like that's pretty freaking crazy.
That would
Like
be pretty
that's
nice.
yeah.
Yeah, a sports game like that.
Yeah, because they advertise
paying,
it.
I'm sure,
NBA
pretty
NBA has a deal with them where they've got
That's pretty incredible.
2 empty seats at the game,
Oh my gosh.
and they sell them virtually.
But like multiple people can probably sit there.
Well, I
virtually,
think it's 2 people.
But literally, like selling 2 tickets for those 2 invisible seats. It's not like you just buy a seat and but there's a limited number of people as long as you can.
Unlimited number.
Yeah.
No, unlimited number.
Okay, that's
yeah.
what I thought.
So
Yeah.
I could be sitting there, but you could be sitting there also. We're not talking to each other, but somehow you can buy it in pairs, and then like me and you could be sitting there. We can be like, there's a virtual Cody there, and I'm like talking to you, but you're not there,
Yeah.
and like
like a
we're watching the
Like
game.
what happens?
It's
He's
like-
trying to hit him next to you. It's like, oh,
I mean, it's mind blowing. It's like that's where it's coming. But that would be pretty incredible, like a live
yeah.
360 view of the game.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Like
Sweet.
I've never sat courtside, so that you can do that now. I mean, I was watching the NBA finals or the playoffs last night, and Drake is standing there on the sideline. I'm like, hey, I can actually do that if I was in the Oculus.
Be like Drake.
So, anyway, Vader Immortal. If you want to buy it, it's on the Oculus Quest. I think it's coming to. No, I don't. I think it's Quest exclusive. I don't think. It's,
only
yeah, I don't think it's coming to Samsung.
That's kind of unfortunate, but I mean,
It is.
because I do. I mean, the play was pretty neat. I'm very interested in the story just because of kind of the direction it was going. You get the idea from if you watch the trailer.
Yes.
that you are kind of like a Force user character in a way. So that's intriguing to me. It's like how's that going to fit and everything.
Yeah, and the artifact that they
Yeah.
talk about is a continuation from the Secrets of the Empire
Right.
storyline that I did, which again was incredible. So if it's anything like that, I definitely want to do it because that experience was
Yeah.
like when you said you were going to Orlando, you got to do that Secrets of the Empire. Like
I'll try to.
It
I'll
is,
try to hit it up.
It's
Yeah.
incredible.
Cool.
Last thing before we get into the Vanity Fair, did you see that Galaxy's Edge cast
the
photo?
Yeah, I saw the photo.
So
It's just full of
it's almost 1 week away until Galaxy's Edge opens at Disneyland in California, May 31st, which is next Friday. They released a photo that had looked like hundreds of cast members,
Yeah, shoulder, full costume and everything.
full costume. I got the photo up. I had the photo up on the video
Probably
side of
on
this.
Me.
Yeah. No, it's over
Okay,
here.
over there. Okay.
Yeah, behind you.
Great.
But yeah, it's pretty neat. Now I was telling Cody, we was talking to Cody beforehand, but so if you were one of the lucky ones, you had to reserve your spot for the first month. Like there's only reservation only entrances into Galaxy's Edge. So big crash when it came out, it was free. It was free, free reservation. So anyway, there's only a certain amount of group of people that are going to be able to go for the first month. Now, starting in June 24th, I think it was. I think they'll start doing fast passes to get into Galaxy's Edge. But again, I think again, I could be wrong about this, but you get fast passes for rides. I think this is fast pass just to get into this area.
That's nuts.
So, and then of course, right now the Falcon ride is the only thing that's going to be available. The Resistance ride is still not going to be operational yet. So anyway, I'm going down to Orlando, Disney World in October, late September 29th or first week of October. So that will be open a month. So I don't know I still know leading up this summer how they're going to do the release of that park. And I still haven't figured out yet if Disneyland and Disney World are actual like mirror images of each other.
Right.
Like I don't know if
they both have a Falcon, right?
They do both have both rides.
Yeah.
They both have. I think they both have the same restaurants. Just like the layout, and I'd be disappointed if the layouts were different because then that's not canon. It's like
I wonder if all the footage we've seen has only been from the one.
It's only been Disneyland.
Disneyland.
Disney World's got a way to go still. Like I've seen some of the aerials. Like someone, like my wife and I do a Disney podcast.
What?
And she's been looking up photos and stuff like that, and it's coming along. I mean, it's pretty much there almost, but like still a lot of the construction stuff is still around there. So
trash. Yeah,
I'm sure they'll be done this summer. But it's good that this is opening first to kind of get a feel of what it's going to be. But I don't know. I'm assuming it's got to be the same layout. It's got to be the same acreage.
Probably.
Yeah.
Acreage, maybe. I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
Disneyland itself is just super small compared
Right.
to Disney World or Magic Kingdom itself. But I'm sure it's the same. It's not like because they're both Batu or Black Spire, right?
They're both Black Spire.
The different parts of Black Spire, maybe, but I'm sure they're probably
Yeah, but I think even
the
like
same.
I think like maybe I'm wrong. I don't know because I haven't been to Disneyland since I was like 4. But I feel like Big Thunder Mountain is slightly different. I feel like Space Mountain is slightly different.
I don't know. Yeah,
So maybe there's something about the land is something different. I don't know, but anyway, they did release, and I won't bore everybody on this show with it. But if you go to our show, Sharing the Mouse, we go through
what's happening here.
We go through the entire menu.
Yeah,
They released the entire menu on all the restaurants there at
Yeah.
Galaxy's Edge.
That's what I'm excited about.
You
I
are
want to hit
excited
up the
about
food,
Yeah,
check
yeah,
out
I
the
know.
drinks, maybe get some toys, build a lightsaber.
yeah. Build a lightsaber, man.
I mean,
That's what
like
wanna
the
do.
virtual rides kind of make me a little bit sick. I get motion sickness pretty easily. I need to be on like a moving roller coaster to not get sick. So I'll probably just like hang out if I go.
Just cruise the diners and get some blue milk, green milk.
They do have blue milk. They do have green milk.
Yeah.
I'll find Cody. I'll run through some of these things with you for you. But it's funny because the names of them, the names of them are Star Wars. It's Star Wars related because I'm going to name some of these that are creatures and stuff like that. Some of them I recognize, some of them I don't. So I don't. You might.
I'm sure they made up some new stuff. I'm sure.
Deep fried porg.
Yeah.
Oh, there is no porg, but yeah.
Pork nuggets. I love that'd be good. Pork wings. Yeah.
I gotta find this. Talk about something else real fast.
So what weather? Sports.
I might. So I'm going to Orlando in December.
Oh, right.
For a wedding. So I might be able to try to get to Galaxy's Edge for a day, maybe.
Good luck.
I'm trying to work it out, see if I can, see what the price is going to be. Hopefully, I don't even know how getting into it will be, like you were saying, Dave. Maybe they'll have the kinks worked out to where it'll be like a fast pass thing, or you'll have this time limit where you can be in the park. So I'm going to try to check it out if I can.
30 minutes. What?
I just got here.
Yeah.
Waiting for 30 minutes.
Okay, so one of the places is called Docking Bay 7, Food and Cargo. It's run by what was the characters' names? So there's Docking Bay 7, Food and Cargo, and then Oga's Cantina. Docking Bay is run by Chef Strono Cookie Tugs.
Old Tugs.
Old Tugs. And here's the menu for that. So the entrees, smoked Kadu ribs. So Kadu, I don't know what that looks like.
Kadu.
What a Kadu? I was gonna look that up. Maybe look that up. Kadu, Kadu. So those are actually sticky pork ribs. You got fried Endorian tip yip. Endorian, it's in Endor. So I don't know
Ewoks?
what that. I don't know. I don't think it's an Ewok.
Endorian.
But it's some creature on
Interesting.
Endorian. So on Endor.
Oh, Kadu is the creature that the Gungans ride. in
Oh
Phantom Menace.
man.
Ew, those are nasty.
Yeah.
Like camels.
Okay. So Yob shrimp noodle salad. That's a chilled shrimp served with marinated noodles and vegetables. You got roasted Endorian tip yip salad. So it's marinated chicken served with mixed greens. Everything tastes like chicken. You got your Felucian garden spread. So Felucia, right?
Maybe a colorful salad.
Very colored, yeah. You got your braised shock roast.
Shock.
I don't know what shock.
How's that spelled?
Shaak.
Like shock tea?
It's spelled like shock tea, but I don't know what shock is.
Torgruda?
Is it a bird kind of thing? What is that?
This is an
Endorian?
chicken.
Dorian chicken. Oh, maybe
I
that's.
don't know if that's the tip yip.
You got your
Don't know
Ethorian.
my parts.
You got your Ethorian garden loaf. Is a plant-based meatloaf. So Ethorian is the hammerhead type guy.
Yeah.
You know, the species. So anyway, that's your main courses there. You got your desserts, your oi oi puff, and your bat tuban, which is a chocolate cake with white chocolate mousse. Anyway, kids' meals, you got your taste of takodana, which is black beans hummus served with edible soil with nuts, chilled dipping vegetables.
A shock is those weird big
Oh.
creatures from Naboo.
That's right. Okay, cool.
Oh,
The
the ones
Those,
that
those look tasty.
that Anakin tries
The
to ride
big,
on.
the big brown thing. Yeah, okay.
Herbivore.
And then you got Oga's Cantina. Oga's Cantina's got a bunch of drinks. It's really just a ton of drinks. I don't even know if they have food. They don't list anything right here.
They have Carillion whiskey.
Yeah, your Black Spire brew, your Mugen tea, your Tyra tea, your Blue Bantha, which is blue milk served chilled with Bantha-inspired vanilla butter sugar cookie.
Ooh. Sweet. It's a sweet drink.
Sweet drink. And you got your Gold Squadron lager, your White Wampa
There you go.
Ale, your Gamorrean Ale,
Give me that white wampa.
your Bad Motivator IPA. So I'm just naming it. Black Spire Outpost has a Black Spire Outpost Market, which I think is a quick service place. It's not a sit down, but that's got your
Coca-Cola.
yeah, it does have Coca Cola. It's got your Ronto or your Ronto wrap.
Ronto.
Ronto's that big thing they put in episode 4 that the Jawas are riding.
Yeah.
Those Rontos.
Oh, okay.
And you got your Nuna turkey jerky. Your Nuna, I think the Nuna is the thing that Jabba knocks off in episode 1, knocks off the
pod
balcony.
race.
And we put it on
Is it in a bucket?
the poker table
yeah.
of Rise of the Troopers.
Las Vegas.
Las Vegas.
Yeah.
You got your Tatooine Sunset, which is a drink. Anyway, you got your blue milk, your green milk. And of course, your Coca-Cola beverages.
Canon.
Anyway, that's
Coca-Cola.
some of the stuff right there. So anyway, it's interesting. You
I'm excited about it.
you gotta know your Star Wars creatures walking in there. So it's good. So go get a Ronto wrap. Okay, so let's get into this this Vanity Fair stuff here. This is big stuff to break down. So Vanity Fair, like we said, since 1999, the Phantom Menace has been releasing big articles on, and basically the photos that really accompany these articles are really breathtaking. Shot by a veteran. Is there? I just had her name.
Leibowitz.
Amy.
Annie.
Leibowitz. If you watch the little video that Vanity Fair put out, it's about a minute, which is pretty neat. Kathleen Kennedy mentions how for 40 years she has been working on Star Wars, and it's true, not for Vanity Fair fully, but for Rolling Stone, she did the cast. She shot the cast for The Empire Strikes Back back in 1980. So that's where her history is. But since 1999, The Phantom Menace, she has been shooting. She's been invited to every Star Wars set and has shot photos for it. Actually, but did she do? She didn't do. Did she do? There wasn't Vanity Fair for Rogue One, was there?
Not Rogue One.
Solo?
Or Solo.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Just
only the saga films.
Saga films
Might be the last time.
might be. So anyway, let's break down these photos and these articles. I don't know what about the article at all did you find interesting or surprising?
I love hearing the quotes from like JJ talking about what process they went through making the movie. I thought it was really interesting. He even kind of brings up. I'll paraphrase because I don't have it right in front of me. His quotes. But he talks about going through and in the first one in Force Awakens, paid a lot of homage to George Lucas and to what came before. And he says, when working on this one, he really, got into a place where he needed to push the story forward. And I think it's really kind of encompasses where we are in Star Wars, and kind of honestly refreshing to hear, because I think a lot of people's criticism of the Force Awakens is that it's a lot like A New Hope and like the other movies. So it's kind of cool to hear. It's in a way a roundabout. And this part I'm definitely drawing some speculation from, but it's almost like it's seeing how Rian Johnson's changes and new ways of shooting and storytelling have impacted the way that JJ is going about Rise of Skywalker. I think it's just kind of neat because you just get to hear on his thoughts on making the movie.
Yeah, I loved how I honestly just had a massive brain fart. But yeah, along with that, how he went about making the movie and how he's using Carrie Fisher and how he's just incorporating her legacy and all the technology it is to pull her off, and even having Billy Lord and how she contributed to that, and they kind of collaborated a little bit and how to incorporate Carrie Fisher, which was pretty cool. But yeah, and I love seeing the photo of him directing the Knights of Ren just in shorts and a jacket. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pulling up right there. Yeah, he's just. I mean, that's just like a normal guy.
I know.
It's pretty cool.
Crazy how they revealed the Knights of Ren in this.
Exactly.
They're full daylight, and it's crazy.
The first thing as I read through this, the first thing that stood out to me, which I'm not sure what I think about this, but one of the paragraphs, I'll read it briefly here. It says this just popped up.
Yeah, but you might get blocked by Vanity Fair.
Yeah.
You gotta subscribe.
So it says Disney executives talk about how important it is to eventize Star Wars movies, i.e. to make them feel not just like movies, but like seriously momentous occasions. And it says they won't have trouble with this one. Rise of Skywalker isn't just the last movie in the Star Wars trilogy, but began in 2015 with Force Awakens, the last movie in a literal, actual trilogy of trilogies that started with the very first Star Wars movie in '77. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. Event-sizing them, or
there's phrasing though in terms of just capitalizing it.
Well, they're
it is a momentous occasion every time it comes
it
out.
is, but that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm meaning. Like is I don't know if they're is that how they view Star Wars, or is that how they think the fans view it, Star Wars? Now I know we definitely take it very seriously when a movie's getting made and we're excited about it, but that comes back to the whole thing about whether or not they should release these once a year, right? If they don't feel like they're making them momentous by doing it often, I feel like that part of me feels like they're missing the mark on that a little bit, right?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I'd say they're missing the mark. I mean, I can get what you're saying. Like, I mean, I see, what you're getting at there, but I feel like it has been the success of Star Wars. They've been great movies, great stories, but they've been special. There's not a lot. I mean, now we have 9, 10, 11. How many movies?
10.
10 movies.
10 movies out there.
And then Rise of Skywalker. So 10 movies, but there's not a lot of them, with like Marvel and stuff, they've got these 20 movies and everything, and they do 2 or 3 a year now, but they have all been kind of special. I'd say mostly on the saga side. I love Rogue One. I think its numbers are a little inflated because it was riding off of the coattails of Force Awakens, and that time period for Star Wars was really special. I think what they ran into with Solo was kind of that moment where they hit a point where they didn't have a event movie. It wasn't special anymore. It came out really quickly. Yeah. It wasn't the story that a lot of people wanted. It was recasting. It had all the issues that it had. It had the director change and everything. But they definitely got to the point where they released a movie that wasn't special. It didn't break records.
But if everybody felt the way about The Last Jedi as they did with Force Awakens, Solo would have been a lot more successful. Because people had this bad, all of a sudden, like Last Jedi separated the fan base somehow, where half the people or whatever it was said, you know what, this is bad stuff. I'm not even going to go see Solo. I mean, clear example of is our buddy Rainey that lives in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Like, I talked to him shortly after Solo came out. I'm like, do you see it yet? He's like, nah, Last Jedi just kind of blew me off. I was like,
yeah.
And I guarantee it a lot. And that's what not only was it that, but I feel like releasing in May behind was it Avengers Infinity War? I mean, it's and like
Deadpool.
you're just asking for I think there's a lot more factors again in Solo. But anyway, regardless, I don't know. What I'm getting at is I think that when you're eventicizing it, I think. If you think about what really makes Star Wars special too is, I mean, the bottom line is that they cost a lot of money, right? You're putting a big budget together to do these movies. My thought is, I've always said, if you're going to do them, repeatedly or often,
multiple years or something.
It's like, why not scale? Some of them scale back the production, budget.
Yeah.
And because then you're not investing all your money into trying to make a hit every time. You can do a $50 to $100 million movie. I know you can in that time period or in a time period that, and people will see it if it's good stories, right?
But it's just got to deliver at the box office. I think that's been the measure, right?
But that's exactly. But that's what I'm saying. I feel like if you do $100 million movie, I mean, you'll make double that just overseas. Maybe it doesn't hit as much here. It depends. You'll have your hit or misses. I mean, Marvel surely has hits or misses, right? But I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I'm on that. I don't, because I don't know. I don't need a $300 million Star Wars movie every time. I don't.
Yeah.
Personally, I'd rather have. If you give me one of those every couple years, and then maybe in between you fill in with some smaller ones, I'm totally fine with that. We're getting the smaller ones with Disney Plus.
Yeah,
Disney Plus will kind of fill that void.
Yeah, so maybe I'll be okay with that. But
I just wonder if they're a little like this. May be also the wrong mentality, like you're saying, is they might just be a little bit scared. Not like, of course they're making tons of money. It's Disney. They're not really scared, but just trepidatious to put out something that's not a hit. Because if they did Solo 2. And if it didn't sell as well at the box office, it's like, they don't want to have this money go in and then not have a movie that breaks records or that becomes like this big event. So I mean, if they could go back, I think they would release Solo on Disney Plus, and then you would never have to show how many people watched it. So you could keep it close to the vest about how successful it really was. Because people love it. I mean, I love Solo.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
But it didn't win at the box office, so to them it's kind of like a miss.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it didn't help that that movie they put 2 budgets in one movie.
Yeah, much.
So
Yeah.
to try to make your money back on that anyway would had to been astronomical. And again, I don't know, we could talk about that all over the place. How I feel like they missed the marketing on that. They waited too long. I think if they would have moved it to December, it would have been a much better take. But but okay. So what facts? Yeah, no, that's great.
Sorry, I'm just looking at this photo of JJ on set, and it's my new spirit animal. He's got like some kind of rag on his head. He's like got his like hoodie tied around his waist.
Yeah.
He's just been jogging through, somewhere in California.
So what?
Just go through the slew of facts.
What facts did we learn?
Several things about the current characters. We learned some new characters, new planets. Pretty interesting. So, in overall story-wise, we know it takes place a year after Last Jedi. We don't know a whole lot that's happened in the midst of that time. Besides, Rey has come close to her training, like to the nearing completion of her training, as it's put, I think, in the article.
Does that mean she's a Jedi Knight?
Yeah, it's not a master, but a knight, perhaps, or maybe she's end of her Padawan stages and not yet kind of done what we know as the trials in a way. I don't know, but she's got the sacred Jedi texts, and she's allegedly maybe got Luke guiding her as well. So she's doing awesome, and don't know much about Kylo in the midst of that time, but we know that our heroes still, like Poe, Finn, and Rey, have been kind of working together, growing together as a team in that year span. But yeah, gap wise, there's not much I don't think we know besides that. We learned a little bit about what kind of Poe and Finn's state of mind in this one, but nothing too crazy new. And then let's see, Poe wise, I don't think there's really nothing else new about him too much, but a little bit about Jonna, the new girl. We've got some images of her, but nothing really about her character itself. Confirmed that Kerry Russell is Zori, the scoundrel in the purple Daft Punk outfit.
Yeah, true. We did learn some planet names.
Pasana. It's the desert planet.
Desert planet. Man,
and I'm assuming this is how you pronounce it.
I thought it would have for sure been like Tatooine or Jeddah.
Yeah. Just another desert planet.
Maybe even Jakku. But
Jakku, yeah. What's the other planet was what?
Oh, Kajimi is the snow planet because it was listed under Kara Russell's photo for Zori Bliss. So that's I guess the planet. I'm assuming the planet we see when you see that ship fly.
Yeah.
And it's like kind of like nightimey.
Yeah. Don't know if that's indoor with the Death Star or not. That wasn't confirmed nor denied, so still need to speculate about that. But we do know some creatures, which is pretty cool. There's space horses, the Orbaks that Finn and Jonna are riding, which are pretty sweet looking.
Yes.
And then the Aki, I guess, is Aki, whatever, on Pasana, the tentacle kind of squid-like race on that planet, which is pretty nice.
Oh, yep. Aki, yep.
I think also on that planet, we see some shots in the teaser of them fighting. I'm pretty sure I read somewhere that they're fighting mechanized forces of the First Order. I'm pretty sure I read that word. Mechanized.
Like robots?
Robots? Yeah. I think robots. I think we're getting some droid armies again a little bit, maybe.
I mean, one thing they'll just say like that goes sort of for all the photos in that planet, the desert planet, Pasana, even from the trailer, and we may have touched on it. Somebody may have brought it up. A lot of the photos have a real like Mad Max vibe to them, as far as like vehicles going through the desert. You know, this sort of like older looking,
lived in and very DIY type of weapons and stuff. Especially the Knights of Ren. You know, their weapons. It's just like you just found this. And you made this, like Walking Dead style stuff. It's like,
well, it's like one of them has a gun, but then some of them have these big cleavers.
Yeah,
I'm like, do these cleavers like
also
are they going to work against lightsabers?
Well, I did read that I think their weapon, like they are very powerful weapons, kind of what the articles allude to. So I'm assuming they have some other kind of force behind it, such as like if they do emit some kind of energy, you know, blast or something like that. Like it's a Final Fantasy gun, which one guy has in there. It's a big sword that also maybe turns into a gun. Who knows? But yeah, they've got to be.
These are going to be hot selling toys.
Oh yeah.
I mean, if I was a kid, I'd be all over these Knights of Ren toys.
Be making my own stuff. Absolutely. Get a little bit about the villains. Richard Grant is Allegiant General or Allegiant General, right?
Yep.
Allegiant General Pride. And I've read that some fans were thinking that he was Hux's dad, but we know from Aftermath that he's absolutely not Hux's dad.
The photo is very like
father-son-ish.
Family photo.
Yeah, it
All right,
is.
son, sit here.
Keeping up with the First Order.
But
I mentioned that hopefully, I feel like since he's older, he still could be from the Empire days.
Absolutely. No, I think
that'd be awesome.
I love that. Him kind of talk about it a little bit, and back in the Emperor's days, you know, he knows Palpatine. You know, still a lot of speculation with him. You know, how much is he involved, or there's even, which I was surprised that this article actually kind of fed the theories that there might be somewhat of a schism within the First Order, where you have Kylo Ren's side and Hux's side, and it's kind of splitting. I love that. They kind of push that along, because one really interesting thing that the article initially stated was that Kylo Ren was indeed fighting and mowing down Knights of Ren, and then they said they mischaracterized it and retracted it.
Oh, I didn't know they retracted it. They did retract it?
Retracted it.
Okay.
But
they responded to a comment on maybe Reddit or social media. The actual Vanity Fair writer said that it was a mistake, and they updated the article.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because I read the part where I think it said that he's mowing down.
It's a pretty big mistake.
Yeah.
I mean,
might be a spoiler.
Always very surprised that shot was in there. If he is fighting Knights of Ren, that's to me a big spoiler to put in a teaser. So if it's
that was my initial thought when I saw it, but then when I stared at it long enough, I'm like, that's not a Knights of Ren.
I didn't think so, because the two guys in that shot look pretty identical.
Yes.
Then, I don't know.
I think it's their helmets.
Yeah.
The weapons are
dark.
super similar, but the helmet shapes I thought were different. But I mean, I don't know. They wrote it down. It could be the case.
But it is interesting. One of the because there was many articles put on Vanity Fair, and one specifically about Knights of Ren. And one of the bylines says that refers to Kylo Ren as the one-time leader of the Knights of Ren. So he's not the leader anymore.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Which even further feeds that theory that he's against them. They're against each other. He's fighting them in some fashion. So
they're probably like, "Where you been, dude?" Or where have they been? I don't know.
Yeah, maybe now where have you been, Knights of Ren? No,
or maybe now the Knights are loyal to Palpatine.
That's true, man. Yep.
The Knights of Sheev.
Knights of Sheev.
Knights and Black Satin. Yeah, and then, I mean, for villain wise, that's really it. They haven't really nothing about Hux or anything like that. Adam Driver has some interesting quotes in there talking about just his character's motivation and backstory, and kind of explaining where he, his mindset is, and kind of things that he's done already. Awesome photos with him and Rey.
Yeah,
fighting on something.
That photo is. I mentioned to Cody today at work. I was like, I don't know. That's pretty revealing.
Like if that's like maybe the end battle or something,
or even a battle. It's like that's a pretty big.
And that's the Death Star, right?
I think so.
I think it's got to be.
It's got to be.
There's also
come on
the video that Vanity Fair released.
Screenshot that
has
the behind the scenes. It's more of a raw
has a look of Rey
wow.
standing in
I
it.
didn't see that.
I mean, you don't get a lot of it. You still only see like what she's standing on, but it kind of evokes not the trench part of the Death Star, but some of the architecture of the outside.
Because that's the thing, it's such a huge, massive structure, especially Death Star 2, and that, like you get on the surface of it, I don't know what it would look like. So it's, and that would be crazy. A fight on the Death Star.
But surely, do you think that picture is CG'd? I mean, it has to be CG'd, right?
Well, they obviously added the lightsaber.
They painted out the wires.
So I'm assuming they added a bunch of water.
It was replaced. Yeah.
And the other thing that Annie Leibovitz is well known for is putting characters in the different costumes that they aren't actually in the scenes in the movie. In certain scenes. So like one big instance, and this is a little bit of a stretch, but it's like Mark Hamill is Luke in his Jedi garb that we see at the end of The Force Awakens. He's all over the marketing for The Last Jedi with Rey and the Octu hut areas with Rey. But his only scene in The Last Jedi in that garb with Rey is when he throws a lightsaber.
That's correct.
At the end of the movie, he changes back into it to go try to like blow up the Sacred Jedi text or whatever.
Yes.
But like he's not in his outfit with Rey in any scenes when they're in like the Octo hut set.
Oh, okay.
So it's like, there could be some trickery in any of these photos. So you never know like what, they're not going to obviously give away huge spoilers, but
right.
Is this the final fight?
That's why I think
I
don't think it can be the final fight. I think it's somewhere. I think that Death Star Discovery shot is sometime in the end of the first act or second act or something. I don't know, something like that. There's no way it can be, but I don't know.
Yeah, I couldn't think that reveal of the Death Star would be anywhere towards the end of the film because that's a big moment, and I think they're going to put that in the early. If they're already showing like one of the big moments at the end of the film in the teaser trailer, it's like, it's the reveal, then it's not going to have an impact.
Agree.
You see it.
Agree.
Yeah. One cool thing, story tidbit that they talked about about C-3PO. Apparently, he's going to have a pretty huge role, which, if you follow Making Star Wars and their leaks, they have talked extensively about rumors of to them confirmations, I guess, of C-3PO's involvement in this movie, and it does sound like it's a pretty big involvement. And so this article kind of corroborates that in that sense, but
he has the Force,
and it does, and it does mention in this article that now that the shooting is complete, that Anthony Daniels is the only person to be in all 9 films.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. I mean, he's the only one that can say that.
He's in Rogue One, and technically he's in Solo, not as C-3PO, but as another robot.
his voice, yeah.
Oh, he is? Oh, I didn't
He's
know
one of
that.
the robots on Kessel. So he's
That's
in all of them, but
technically he's been, but he's been 3PO,
3PO
in 10 films.
Exactly.
Yeah. Plus the voice in Clone Wars.
Always the voice.
Yeah, always the voice. But that's pretty cool to see. So, yeah, and then the Luke picture is
that Luke picture. Man,
look at our boy Luke.
Yeah,
he looks awesome.
Fiery.
I mean, is that a flashback?
Well,
or is that just we haven't seen the ghost part of it yet?
Yeah, it's a thing. It could be incomplete, could be misdirection.
But then what's burning? Yeah, then what's burning?
Mm-hmm.
I'll go ahead and say I don't think it's a flashback, mostly because he's got the long hair. So this. I mean,
that is what he was wearing and what he was looking like when he was doing the Force projection.
Right.
The
last time we saw him
when he
alive.
passed, he was wearing that or looking like that.
Yeah. So
it makes me believe that's going to be a Force Ghost shot, which kind of weird. Kind of the R2 is sitting right next to him.
You don't have to stand next to me anymore, man.
Yeah.
You actually roll through me. You don't have to stand next to me like you're going to bump into me.
Or would he bump into him?
He could.
Yeah.
Is he that? Is he? Yeah.
Is he physical?
One? Yeah.
But then I read something that some people are speculating that this is a flashback of that they feel like I can't remember who said this. It might have been the guys on Collider, but they were saying that they feel like we are going to get the full like replay of the
what happened?
the Kylo Ren destroying the
how
temple.
it went down.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
And this
there's
could be
still
the
stuff to-
speculation. This could, in that sense, this could be the speculation of him telling that story, and it's him replaying this in the background, and kind of how it kind of
Projecting
from a
projects
certain
it.
point of view.
Yeah.
Maybe there's
Yeah.
another twist to
Ooh.
the story.
maybe
Maybe Kylo didn't kill people.
no,
Maybe it was all the other students, the
and
Knights of
maybe
Ren. Or
Rey
something.
was there, and Luke grabbed her and took her.
Maybe
He's
she's a
in his
Skywalker.
cloak. Baby Ray is under his cloak.
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah.
why would he like folding his arms? Because
Here, hide.
Yeah.
He put her in R2.
Oh my gosh! Cracked open the
In
dome.
the computer.
Yeah.
That'd be great. Oh, man.
So I don't know. It's crazy to think how much Luke is even in it. Because according to the article, Leia, and I think we all kind of knew this from previous articles, but
Yeah.
Leia had a huge part.
Yeah, it was her movie.
It was her movie. Episode 9 was her film, and it sounds like they got a lot of stuff with her in there. But how much had to be supplemented by something else? Maybe more Luke.
Yeah, the article alludes to that. 3PO's involvement also it kind of picks up that legacy emotion throughout the film, kind of where Leia, it was going to be Leia, but now it's like the characters that currently exist, especially 3PO, since he's seen everything. But it will be interesting, to see. And then they're hyping it up still. Like, I'm surprised that they're not kind of tempering people's expectations of how involved Leia is going to be, because they keep talking about how it's perfectly executed, seamless.
It's like she was there.
Okay,
I
I'm
know.
trusting you all. I mean, I believe you. We'll see.
So the part where I was talking about when I started talking about this with the the event sizing is, but something I want. So Kathleen kind of mentions this later in the article. She says, I'll just read this briefly. If anything, Star Wars is only getting more omnipresent. The franchise under Lucas was a colossus, but he still ran it essentially as a private concern. He would make movies. He could make movies or not, as his muse dictated. He was beholden to no shareholders. But Star Wars under Disney makes the old Star Wars look positively quaint. Between 1977 and 2005, Lucas released 6 Star Wars movies. When Skywalker premieres in December, Disney will have released 5 Star Wars movies in 5 years. So I think there is this is quoted by Kathleen, I think there's a larger expectation that Disney has. Kathleen says, on the other hand, though, I think that Disney is very respectful of what this is. And right from the beginning, we talked about the fragility of this form of storytelling, because it's something that means so much to fans that you can't turn this into some kind of factory approach. You can't even do what Marvel does necessarily, where you pick characters and build new franchises around those characters. This needs to evolve differently. So I thought that was a pretty interesting discussion to hit on. Back to when we were talking about earlier about Disney executives putting the brakes on, and I just feel like, though, that if part of it's weird where she says, like, from the beginning they talked about the frailty of this thing, but they still did it. They still did 5 movies in 5 years. So if you talked about it, then
did they listen to you?
Yeah, it's like, of course, by reading that and by being in the real world and seeing how it all played out, it's like, is it that they talked about it but thought, well, let's try to make this $4 billion back as fast as possible, but since some of them started bombing, maybe we need to rethink how we release. So it's like, I get it that you could go into it one way, but you didn't reflect that in the first 5 years.
We wonder who's pulling the strings really there. Like, hopefully they're listening, because I mean that's kind of a wise statement from Kathleen Kennedy.
It is.
And she's been around. She's got she's been there and knows George and knows his approach. So it's good to have someone like that say something. It kind of goes back to the can they release multiple, like you were saying, and her statement makes it sound like that it's got to be more spaced out. That it needs to be. Not
thought out more.
It.
Yeah, thought out more.
We've talked about it with Solo. I mean, let's take the Solo universe. If we could make a Solo universe, if I was going to try to make money and I was going to do the Disney Marvel approach, I'd say, great, we have Solo. We're going to put Obi-Wan. He's around the same timeline. Maybe they met. Nobody really knows if they did. We could make them meet, and nobody would really care about that. I mean, people would care, but nobody would throw fits if they were in scenes together. And then you got Maul, and you just play with all these Jabba and all these characters. Like, you would really just make Maul movie, make an Obi-Wan movie, make team up movies where they go and fight together and stuff, and that's how you would Marvelize Star Wars,
right?
And you could see how there would be problems with that.
Saw Gerrera, you get Ursa, you get Cassian, all these other people.
I don't know. I do think, we talked about this, I think when Solo came out, I think they missed an opportunity to not do what Marvel did in the sense where you're building towards, all those movies are sequels of each other, basically, right? Building towards this ultimate end game. But you missed an opportunity in Solo to connect it at least a little bit. You did with Maul a little bit. But just think, what was it in? Well, you did with Maul, but you think about Rogue One, or
think of the book.
No, I'm sorry.
Was it the book of one of the novelizations? Or something?
Was it The Last Jedi? Oh, I thought it was Solo.
Well, the novelization of Solo talks about Saw Gerrera, I think. Is that what you're
Yes, that's right. Yes. So it talks about Saul, and you could have had a Jyn Erso in there. You know what I mean? So it's like you could have made that connection with these Star Wars stories. Just to kind of, again, make sure that it's locked into the same universe.
Like Rogue One leads into Solo, which then maybe leads into what the next one is. In a way, maybe not teaming up characters, but
literally just if you had Saul in there, and then you had a 10-year-old Jyn, which she would have been 10 or 11 at that point, maybe. It would have been cool, even if you got the same girl that played her in in Rogue One,
the
right?
prologue,
right? So anyway, you could have done it something like that, or you could have just had Forrest Whitaker in it, and you would
that'd be cool.
But it'd been cool. But anyway, no, I agree. I just think that if you were going to do that, you should have stuck. You should have done that from the beginning. But I don't think that would have just think if Rogue One didn't happen. Right? Or if it went to straight to Netflix or something like that. Whatever. It never got a theatrical release. You had Force Awakens and you had The Last Jedi. Now, The Last Jedi still, I feel would have gotten the same.
Yeah.
Rogue One didn't do anything to The Last Jedi, I don't think. So,
no.
You still would have had that. You still would have had happen. So, I don't know if because of more movies that's what happened, but.
Well, and Rogue One still kind of stands as the sort of a barometer for we've all kind of talked about, can you do Star Wars movies successfully without Force users? And Rogue One really toes that line because they have Chirrut, and he talks about the Force every 5 seconds. But
Vader, a little bit. It's just,
the Vader thing at the end.
No Jedi. There's no full-fledged Jedi.
Every Star Wars movie has had a lightsaber, so that's a prerequisite.
That is a prerequisite,
and they've showed that with Maul because it was totally useless, but still cool to see.
Satisfying. To me, it was.
They need to pay that off. You have to have a sequel.
That's true too.
It's that's another story for another time.
Don't get me started.
I don't know. Yeah, I think it's one of those things where Rogue One still shows you can do Mandalorian's coming out. Hopefully they can do that story without including the Force, but. You know, the way Kathleen Kennedy puts it, I mean, it's really telling. She uses the word like it's fragile. You know, not like, you know, they don't have it figured out yet.
Yeah.
You know, it's still new territory. So it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, the last thing I'll mention, I think I can't find the exact wording, but I thought I read something where it talks about how, you know, this is wrapping up not only this trilogy but the entire saga. There's got to be conclusions, and I think JJ's in there quoted as saying, you know, you have to be able to watch the end of this and be like, yeah, that makes sense.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right?
Well, it's like, yeah, of course that would happen.
Yes.
It's like, yeah, as you're watching the story unfold, it's, yeah, absolutely.
But it does talk about, it mentions in here, it talks about the conclusion of the Jedi versus the Sith. Like how that concludes somehow, you know? So like,
I remember back when the Vanity Fair, I think it was Vanity Fair, maybe it was like EW, Entertainment Weekly, they said something like Snoke and Kylo aren't Sith. Like they clearly said that. I don't know if it was from JJ specifically or if it was the writer
as well.
was like interpreting what they got from like interviews. I'm just like, why do they do that whole like wool over your eyes when it's like clearly Snoke somehow has an affiliation with Palpatine?
yeah, but Palpatine's in it. He's Sith. He's clearly Sith.
Right. But I'm saying that a step further is like Snoke clearly has Sith training or something, some relation to the Sith. Like so far there's no dark side user that's not Sith unless you just like Asajj. She left.
Yeah, but she was still trained
Sith
by
teachings.
Sith. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just as an assassin. But anyways.
Good stuff. Anyway, that's a big article out there. It's a long article if you want to read it. VanityFair, of course, .com, and of course on StarWars.com is all the images to check out. So great images, great photos. Kind of surprising that it actually came out this soon. I don't remember the Vanity Fair is coming out this early. Still,
I don't know the timing of it. Yeah, I can't
it's
think of it.
felt like it'd be a little bit later, but marketing is ramped like crazy for this thing. So, thanks for listening, everybody. Have a great weekend, great Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah, I wonder if there'll be a Star Wars marathon.
There is. Starting Friday night. I think there's Friday night on TNT. I think TNT's got the marathon this weekend. They're saying the incomplete Star Wars saga, even though it's not, because Episode 8 is not on there yet. But Rogue One is on there, apparently a part of that saga. So I saw some Rogue One clips.
Nice.
So it's all the Star Wars movies besides 8 and Solo.
Wonderful.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Case.
It is obvious that this contest cannot be decided by our knowledge of the Force, but by our skills with a lightsaber.
Oh. Dooku?
Dooku.
Good preview, because next week we're going to continue our journey as we go into Episode 2.
Count Dooku.
I finished Dooku also, so we'll talk about that next week. We all read that, right?
Yep.
Listen to that. Listen to it. It was audio.
Audio only.
Audio only.
No one has read it yet.
I read the words in my mind as I heard them.
Yeah.
So there.
And another thing I want to hit on next week is I'm seeing a lot. I feel like a lot more marketing for the Alphabet Squadron book that's coming. That looks awesome. I think Star Wars Explained put out there. They got an early copy of it. He said it's probably his favorite of the new canon books. So looking forward to that. That comes out June 11th. So like in 3 weeks, I think it gets released. So I already got it pre-ordered. Going to start listening to that as soon as that comes out. That's it.
Cool.
Thanks, Cody.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, guys.
But goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye. Have a good weekend, and may the Force be with you.